In this video, we're diving into one of the most crucial elements of the 2024 presidential election, the electoral map and how current polling data is shaping it. We'll be going state by state, reviewing the most recent polling averages to break down which states are leaning toward Kamala Harris and which are likely to go to Donald Trump. This is going to be one of the most detailed and comprehensive electoral map analyses you can find as we take you through the numbers for every state where there's polling data. By the end of this video, you'll have a clearer picture of where the candidates stand and how the race to the 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency is shaping up. We'll start on the West Coast in Washington state. Here, Kamala Harris is leading by a margin of 13.8. While this is a healthy lead, it's actually a smaller margin than what Joe Biden secured in 2020 when he won Washington by 19 points. Despite the slight dip in Democratic support, Washington remains comfortably in the blue column on our map. Moving south to Oregon, the race tightens significantly with Harris leading by just 5 points. This is a stark contrast to past elections where Oregon was considered a more solid Democratic state. For now, Oregon is still leaning blue, but it's closer than Democrats would like. Continuing further south, we reach California, Harris's home state. Unsurprisingly, Harris leads by a significant 24.5 margin here, making California the first solid blue state on our map. It's no surprise that the Golden State, with its 54 electoral votes, will go in favor of the vice president, solidifying her stronghold on the West Coast. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Turning to Nevada, a key battleground state, things get more interesting. Harris holds a slim 1.1 lead over Trump in the polling. However, Nevada has a history of overestimating Democratic support in polls, so it's very possible Trump could pull off a win here. One outlier poll from Bloomberg shows Harris with a 7-point lead, which skews the overall average slightly. If that poll is inaccurate, Harris's lead is even slimmer. For now, Nevada is classified as leaning blue on our map, but it remains very much in play, and Trump could very well take the state. Moving over to Arizona, we see Trump leading by 1.7, which is significant given that Biden flipped the state in 2020. Arizona is consistently showing Trump ahead in nearly every poll, and it seems poised to return to the Republican column, marking the first state on our map that will go to Trump. Arizona is currently tilted red, showing a reversal from the last election cycle. Moving eastward, we come to Colorado and New Mexico, two states that have been solidly Democratic in recent elections. In Colorado, Harris leads by 11 points, but this is based on poll sponsored by Democrats, so we should be cautious about how much weight we give to that number. It's likely Harris's lead is slightly overstated here. But for now, Colorado remains in the likely blue category. Similarly, in New Mexico, Harris is leading by 8.5, though recent polls show her margin shrinking as the race tightens. Despite the closer polls, New Mexico is still leaning blue, though it's worth watching if the race continues to tighten. Now, we turn our attention to Texas, one of the largest and most important states in the country when it comes to electoral votes. Trump currently leads by 5.2 in the polling. But if we consider Texas's history, the polls have consistently underestimated Republican support. In 2020, Trump was expected to win Texas by just 1, but he ended up winning by nearly 6 based on this trend. It's very likely Trump will win Texas by a much larger margin than the polling indicates, potentially by as much as 10. Texas is classified as leaning red on our map for now, but it's safe to assume that this state will give Trump a big boost with its 40 electoral votes, one of the largest prizes in the election. Next, we look at some of the states in the middle of the country where Trump is commanding leads. In Utah, for example, Trump leads by a massive 32 points, making it one of the safest Republican states. Similarly, in Montana, Trump is ahead by 17.5 points. These are states that Republicans traditionally win by large margins, and this year looks no different. North Dakota and Nebraska are also solidly in Trump's column, with Trump leading by 27 points in North Dakota and 16.5 points in Nebraska. It's worth noting that the polling in Nebraska's 2nd district, which includes the more liberal city of Omaha, shows Harris ahead by 10. But overall, Nebraska will go to Trump by a much larger margin when the votes are counted. Moving on to Alaska. The polling there shows Trump ahead by 8 points, but this is likely underestimating his support. Alaska tends to lean Republican, and Trump is expected to win the state comfortably, making it likely red on our map. Meanwhile, in Hawaii, although we don't have recent polling, the state is traditionally a Democratic stronghold and will almost certainly go to Harris by a large margin. Now let's shift our focus to the Midwest, which is where the election will likely be decided. These are the states that both campaigns are pouring resources into because they're so competitive. We'll start with Wisconsin, where Harris holds a narrow lead of 0.8. However, Wisconsin has a history of overestimating Democrat support in the polls. In both 2016 and 2020, the polls show Democrats ahead by larger margins than they actually won by, or in some cases, didn't win at all. For example, in 2016, Hillary Clinton was supposed to win Wisconsin by 5 points, but Trump ended up winning it. Given this trend, it wouldn't be surprising if Trump overtakes Harris here. For now, though, based on the polling average, Wisconsin is leaning blue, but it's one of the closest states in the race. Moving over to Michigan, we see a very similar situation. Harris leads by just 0.7, making this one of the tightest races in the country. Michigan is considered the most liberal of the key battleground states, but the polling margins are razor thin. Historically, Michigan has been overestimated for Democrats as well, so it's very possible that Trump could win here again, as he did in 2016. For now, Michigan is leaning blue, but it's a toss-up, and Trump could certainly take the state if current trends continue. Next, we head to Pennsylvania, arguably the most important state in the entire election. It's often said that Pennsylvania could be the state that decides the presidency, and this year is no different. The polling shows a dead heat between Trump and Harris, with neither candidate holding a clear lead. Trump has been performing well in Pennsylvania polls throughout September, and the state's 19 electoral votes are crucial. Pennsylvania has gone back and forth between Democrats and Republicans in recent elections, and it's the state that put both Trump over the top in 2016 and Biden over the top in 2020. Based on current polling, Pennsylvania is tilted red on our map, and if Trump wins here, it could be the decisive factor in the election. As we move down to the South, we see that Trump is performing well across the region. In Missouri, Trump is ahead by 10 points, making it a likely red state. In Arkansas, Tennessee, and West Virginia, Trump holds commanding leads of 15 to 27 points, making these solid red states for the GOP. South Carolina is also leaning red, with Trump ahead by 10 points, while Kentucky, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana are all expected to go to Trump easily, though we don't have recent polling data for those states. Finally, in Virginia, the race is surprisingly competitive. Harris leads by just 4.8, which is half the margin that Biden won the state by in 2020. Virginia is trending more Republican, and it will be a state to watch closely. For now, Virginia remains in the lean blue category, but it's much more competitive than expected. In North Carolina and Georgia, Trump is leading by small margins. North Carolina, which went to Trump in both 2016 and 2020, is showing him ahead by 0.6, while Georgia is showing Trump ahead by 1.5. Both states are likely to stay red in this election, though they remain competitive. Lastly, Florida is showing Trump with a significant second lead. Florida, which was once a swing state, has shifted more toward the Republican Party in recent years, and Trump is expected to win the state comfortably. With Florida, Texas, and other key states in his column, Trump is well on his way to securing the 270 electoral votes he needs to win. When we look at the overall map based on current polling averages, Trump is on track to win 281 electoral votes, while Harris is projected to win 257. This puts Trump in a strong position to reclaim the presidency, though the race remains fluid and things could change as we get closer to Election Day. For now, though, Trump has a clear path to victory, and the polling data reflects that he is ahead in key states that will determine the outcome of the 2024 election. Thank you so much for watching this detailed breakdown of the 2024 electoral map. Make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment below, and subscribe to stay updated on the latest developments as we approach the final stretch of the election.